Okay. Have you ever seen those, I'm sure you have, those 3D images, those optical illusion images where there's a picture within a picture? And sometimes you can see it right away, the picture that's in the picture. Sometimes you can see it right away. Other times you have to stare at it, hold it at different distances, turn your head, squint your eyes, you know, try with all your might to see the picture within the picture. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. But trying to show it to somebody else is nearly impossible. It's nearly impossible. You can point it out to them. You can tell them, what's where, and they just can't see it until they can finally figure it out and get their eyes to focus in and see the picture within the picture. That is how I feel when trying to do these videos, because once I saw the truth, I can't unsee it. Every time I hear one of the lies from the establishment, I immediately know that it's a lie. I immediately know why they're telling the lie. And to me, it's so simple. I see it. It's right there. It's right in front of me. It's point blank. But trying to tell somebody else, I find it so difficult. While it's plain to see, oh, it's a tangled web we weave. How do I pick this apart? How do I show you the optical illusion? Because it's all folded in on itself. If I talk about one thing, there's 20 other things that go along with that. And I really struggle. It would be better if, there was a lot of conversation. I don't know if it'll ever get to that point. Because if there's conversation, I could just go off of whatever the conversation is. But me just sitting here talking to myself, I want to tell you everything. But I can't tell you something that's not going to make any sense. I'll give you an example. My grandma told me a story. See, today, our culture is quite a bit different. You know that. Our culture, the practices, the way we do things is quite a bit different now than what it was in, say, the 20s or 30s. Quite a bit different. A lot of people don't realize how different. Like fast food. Fast food was not common not that long ago. Not that long ago, there was no such thing as a fast food restaurant. Not that long ago, there was no such thing as a vending machine. Did you know that that's what started fast food? Was vending machines? There was actually places like you're going to the store. Now this is decades, a century ago. Yeah, like a century ago. Wow. God, I'm old. I mean, I don't remember this, but it wasn't too much before I was born that this was the way it was. You'd be driving down the road, and there would be an area in the, where the stores were, where the grocery stores and gas station and stuff, and there would be this section, and there would be a whole line of vending machines where you could go get food. Then it went from that to restaurants that served fast food. That's how it came about. That's how fast food came about. People don't know that. People don't realize that. So anyway, let me tell you this story. My grandma, when she was young, there were door-to-door salesmen. That's where you got majority of your items. Because there weren't a whole lot of items. There wasn't a whole lot of products out there. So there was door-to-door salesmen. They'd sell vacuum cleaners, blenders, mixers, different things. Different salesmen sold different things. Well, one day, this is what my grandma told me. One day, this door-to-door salesman comes to their house. And he comes in and says that he had a new item. And that they would love it. It was the new craze. And it's a box that you would put in your house. And this box would be, there would be little people, and they would sing and dance and entertain you, tell stories and entertain you. They threw him out of the house and called him crazy. My grandma wanted it because she wanted to see the little people. Well, what he was selling was a television. But if you never saw a television, ever in your life, how would you describe that to somebody? He described it as a box, and it would have little people, and they would sing and dance and tell stories and entertain you. Well, they threw him out of the house, called him crazy. They laughed about him for years until they started seeing televisions. Then they realized that's what that man was selling. Little people in a box entertaining you. So, they thought he was crazy, though. That guy was a lunatic. He was trying to con them. Right? Because they never heard of it. Think about electricity. If you didn't grow up with electricity, wouldn't you think it was witchcraft? We don't think nothing of it, right? We don't think nothing of it. We wake up, we flip the light switch. Hell, anymore, the light comes on its own. But before it was commonplace, people would think it was witchcraft. How did that light come on? Because they're used to using fire. Before electricity, they used fire for light. So think about that. Just think about that for a little bit. Something can be commonplace. You don't think nothing of it. You don't think a thing about it. Because it's part of your everyday life. But if you didn't know about it, you would call it crazy. Oh, that's crazy. Just because you don't know about something doesn't make it crazy. It might be crazy. It really might be crazy. I'm going to have a child. It's going to have a deformity, and that deformity is going to make a new species. That's crazy. I was sitting here, and it started raining, and all of a sudden there was an animal came out of nowhere. It just evolved right there. It just came to life. All those elements, all those atoms, all that, they just came to life. That's crazy. Now, how do you tell the difference? How do you tell the difference between not knowing something, okay? My grandma and her family, her mom and dad, thought that man was crazy. He was talking about TV. He wasn't crazy. So how do you know? How do you decipher what's crazy and something is just something you don't know about? Do you know how to figure that out? You figure it out by looking around the world around you. Is there a way to explain something? There may not be a way to explain something. Okay? There may not be. But I promise you this. Whatever you're told, if you contemplate it, it will either make sense or it won't. It'll either be a possibility or it won't. And that's how you know the difference between something that is actual, factual, real, or just a crazy made up story. Look around you. Have you ever seen anything come into creation? Okay, forget about life. Okay, forget about the essence life, something being alive. Forget that part. Have you ever seen anything just come to be? That's never happened. Never, not once. Well, they tell us that that's how everything came about. It just came about. If that were true, it would still be happening. It's not. It's not happening. If that were true, it would still be occurring. And it's not. If evolution were true, by now, as many years as it's been since they claimed evolution, we would have examples of it. But today, we have knowledge of DNA. The technology, the knowledge, the ability is there to actually look at the DNA and tell if something's deformed or not. Now, those birds, those finches that Darwin used, as his proof of evolution, do you think they'll ever do a DNA on those? No, they won't. They'll never do it, because if they did do a DNA study on that, they'd find out that they're the same exact bird and there's no deformity. A beak is genetically, scientifically, like your nails. See, this is why it's hard. This is why it's hard for me to show you the picture. Because there's so many tangents I can go down. There's so many things to talk about. I can explain how there's different forms. Okay? Do you know what a betta fish is? Almost everybody knows what a betta fish is. It's the fish that you see in the little cups. They're getting away from it a little bit. Like, you used to see them in every Walmart. You don't see that anymore. But the pet stores still do it. They'll have a little cup with a fish in it. And they'll tell you that it's okay because they're betta fish. It's not okay. That's cruel. Can you keep it alive? Yeah, you can keep it alive for a little while. But guess what? You can do that with any fish. Not just betta fish. You can take any fish and put it in a cup and it'll live for a little while. But you don't do that. Well, they do that because they claim that because they live in puddles in nature that it's okay. Yeah, well, see, here I go. Big old tangent. My point is, those fish, those betta fish, they're so colorful, right? Well, in nature, they don't look that way. In nature, they're a blackish brown fish. Look it up. Look up wild betta fish. Look up the scientific name for something splendus or something like that. Look it up. And look up what they look like in the wild. Okay? Then look at it. Look at them. And you know what they look like. You know what a betta fish looks like in the pet store. Now, that's not deformities. Those colors are not deformities. Those colors, that it is genetically the same exact fish. The one you buy in the pet store and the one that you find in the ponds. It's the same exact fish. The only difference, what happened is the inbreeding, and there is a man, his name is Jim something. He studied the genetics of betta fish. And they're genetically, the wild fish, the wild betta fish, have 5 layers of colors. Okay? And one color overlays the other. And so what you see, and then there's patterns. There's patterns for those colors. And so genetically, you can just breed out of them certain layers and you get a red betta or a blue betta, depending on the layer that you breed out. That's all it is. That's not evolution. And those fish look nothing alike. Now, the long tail is a deformity. Now, today, they've got something called dragon scale. That is a deformity. But if those betta fish, well, hell, even in captivity, the long tails hinder them fish. It makes it difficult for them. It shortens their life because they have to move those fins through the water. It's hard on their heart. Dragon scale ends up covering up their eyes and everything. They can't see and ends up killing them. There's your evolution. There's your deformity. And even the breeding that created the red fish and the blue fish and the yellow fish, if those fish were in the wild, but even though that's not a deformity, they have those genetics. If they were in the wild, they would die because predators could see them. They'd never survive. So, this is something you need to know. I'm trying to help you see. I'm trying to help you focus and see that picture within the picture. All of these things help you focus. All of these things you need to realize so you can see through the garbage and see the hidden picture. Because the truth is hidden. We don't know how the supernatural world works. We don't know how our soul, and people are going to say, okay, non-believers are going to say we don't have a soul. Well, who you are, your essence, your life, your being, we don't know how that works because the science industry refuses to study it. Flat refuse. Individuals do things. Talk to the dead, different things. There was a one study that was weighing a body, and the moment it died, it lost a certain amount of weight. And they were trying to say that, if there is a soul, is there a soul? And if there is a soul, does it have any weight? So, they were weighing a body, weighing a person. And upon the moment of death, they weighed less. So that, there's things we could do. There's things we could do to research. Is there an afterlife? Reincarnation. Yeah, I'm a Christian. I believe Jesus Christ is my Savior. But I believe in reincarnation. Maybe one day I'll make a video about why. I fully believe. I would even go as far as to say I know. I know that there's reincarnation. Maybe someday I'll do a video about that. So, I guess now maybe I'm rambling. But I'm telling you, I'm bringing up all these things because maybe you didn't think about these things. Maybe you didn't realize these things. We lose information so quickly. One generation, information is lost. The establishment isn't going to teach us, isn't going to keep things alive for us, isn't going to keep information going, because they have an agenda, and I can prove it. Through these videos, I can prove that they have an agenda, and I can tell you why they have it, tell you what that agenda is and why. I want you to see it, though. I don't want to just tell you. I want to just tell you about it. And you've seen things. You've seen things yourself. You just may not realize what you've seen. And I want you to share those things with me. Just because the authority tells you something doesn't mean that it's true. That's another thing. So many people automatically trust the establishment. And I think that's what's going to be the next video. I think that's where I'll go next. Why you shouldn't trust the establishment. The government, the schools, the authority. They are not trustworthy. They should not be trusted. Is some things that they tell us true? Yeah, there's electricity, right? We got electricity. We've got the internet. We've got technology. They've done some things, but the problem is they use their powers for bad and not good. That's the problem. All these technologies isn't to benefit us, it's to benefit them. And I'm going to show that. So, I guess I'll leave this here. What was the theme of this? The theme of this is one, revealing, not revealing, kind of coming to the realization, trying to explain to you where I'm at, what I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with trying to show you that optical illusion. Trying to show you the illusion that our establishment, our culture, our country, our government, the authority, I don't care where you live in the world, your government has an agenda. There is an illusion that we are fed. There's a big illusion. You can see it. You can see it. You just have to develop the skills, or not even develop it. Sometimes you know something and you don't realize you know it. You just never thought about it. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is help you see that illusion, but I struggle. How do I show you the illusion? So, this video is telling you that, and it's giving you a couple of those little pieces that I've come to realize, which is we lose information. And you have to learn how to discern between something that's crazy and something that is fascinating and kind of unbelievable, but it's true. Like the little box with little people. I'm sure you got one in your house. It's no longer a box, though. It's flat. They used to be boxes. And they held little people that entertained. And there used to be a button that you could push and a light would come on. It's true. It's not witchcraft. It's not voodoo. It's not black magic. It's electricity. And we've got a lot of things going on right now. Today they don't call it witchcraft, they call it conspiracy theory. That's a conspiracy theory. Well, you see the contrails, right? And now they admit it. But I was crazy. I was crazy for saying that they're spraying the skies. I got a ton of videos proving it, and now they admit it. Now they admit it. What's that joke? What's the difference between truth and a conspiracy theory? About 6 months. I'd say it's about 3 years, but you get the joke. Well, I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm going to quit rattling. And hopefully this video made sense. I don't feel like redoing it. It is what it is. Hope y'all have a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.